Hey there, welcome back to my garden. Today we are down in what I'm calling the no dig bed area because all of the beds down here on this space, which is actually over one of our drain lines, well, kind of along one of our drain lines, I've put in every single one of these beds as a no dig bed with the no dig bed method. So I'm just going to flip you around and show you what I'm talking about so you can see. I'll just kind of briefly talk about, the process, what the purpose is of this bed, and I'll show you each of the beds that I've done in this method. And I'm not going to show too much of the process with this one because last season I did share the process of making, I think, 2 no dig beds, and you can go back and watch those if you're interested. This one I'm going to just kind of show the sped up version of the process, but I wanted to show you what it looks like right now and then show you the other beds that have been created using this method. So right now, as you can see, it is just covered with cardboard. This project kind of had to get started yesterday because I was really overwhelmed with the amount of cardboard that I'd collected basically last fall. It was taking up all the space in one of our outside storage shed areas, and I just really needed to get it out. So basically what I did is weed whacked down this area really far, and you can see basically out here all it is, I guess you'd call it wild grass. It's not grass that we seeded necessarily, so hay basically. And so I weed whacked it down really well, and I went along the edge with this tool. I'll put a picture of it up. It's a fire tool actually. I'll put a picture up for you so you can see what I'm talking about. But I did that around the entire edge, and then I laid it with this very thick layer of cardboard. In some of these places, it's actually 2 to 3 layers thick because, like this right here, this is a box that's folded over, plus it has another box on top, then this one on top. So it is really pretty thick. I have a dogwood planted right there. Let me see what kind it is. Neon Burst. Right, I got that last year, and it is leafing out and looking gorgeous. It was a beautiful, beautiful red twigged dogwood out here in no man's land all by itself all season. So that one I actually planted in, covered over it with cardboard and mulch. So that basically already has kind of a method going on around it. It's mounted up a little bit so that when I came through doing this process, it wouldn't, cover the roots too deeply. So we also moved down a few large boulders. My husband was fortunate that I was fortunate enough to have my husband get with the tractor. So those are in there. Unfortunately, I didn't put the cardboard on underneath those, so I will potentially have grass coming up around them, but we'll deal with that when it comes. So basically the next step for this garden is, well, first I'm going to actually plant in to the ground 2 shrubs. I have show off forsythia that's bloomed out. It was beautiful. I had it in a container and it bloomed out. So now it's just putting on its leaves. I'm going to plant that in the ground. I also have a very beautiful reblooming lilac that is one of the proven winners varieties. I'll show you that before I plant it in. But I'm going to put those in, surround them with the cardboard. I'll plant them a little high, put the cardboard around them, and then I'm going to go today and get a truckload of some sort of garden soil from the landscape supply place because I'll be out in the area. So I'm just going to get a load of that, just probably a cubic yard, maybe 1.5 cubic yards of that. Soil's pretty heavy, and so where I could probably get 2 cubic yards of mulch, I can probably only get 1, maybe 1.5 cubic yards of the soil in our pickup. So I'll get that, lay that over this to at least, weigh the cardboard down and have it look a little bit nicer. Then I'll come on with probably some dairy compost of some sort, maybe horse compost if I get it from our friends, and then top it up with some mulch. Probably, I'm not really sure what mulch I'll use yet, but anyway, that's where that bed is right now, and I'll show you the process as I get to it. But I'm going to turn you around really quick and show you the other beds in this area, and then the other 2 that I have made with this method. So this is our 6th no dig bed. Obviously, I like the method, so let me just show you how the other beds are doing. Okay, so here is the 2nd no dig bed I did. This is right along our driveway, and you can see this one has mostly mostly shrubs in it, a few annuals that I put along the edge here. This is the Euphorbia Diamond Frost, I believe, and it did really well here last year, so I repeated that. And this, again, same method, just cardboard. This one I used a combination of things. I used some bagged soil, well, soil and then bagged mulch over the top of it. And it's doing just fine. It hasn't had much come up through it, so that's been great. This one right here is another one along our drain line. This one was fun because I decided I wanted to put in an actual little path through the center. My lemon cypress is tilting over a little bit, but this one, again, just truckloads. This one actually was several truckloads because I lifted it up a little bit. Truckloads of good garden soil and mulch and compost and all the things. So this one is, gosh, 3 years old. This will be its third season. And I don't know that I'm going to add much more to it at all. I might actually start moving some of the perennials out and bringing them over into this one that we installed last year. So all of these videos of installing this bed are all on my page from last year. You can see the process we went through on that. Was some expanding and growing and all the things on that. So these kind of were born out of my, there's Toby running through, kind of out of my, well, desire to have more garden space, but also to not have to weed whack this area down here or mow it, because it was previously just basically lots of hay. You can see some of the little perennials that we planted in recently, and basically this one, if you want to go back and check, you can see what the different layers are, but I do also have another path through this one that kind of matches the path over on that side that's just done with basically with hog fuel. Makes a nice garden path through this one. This one right here up on our front lawn was actually my first no-dig bed, and this one was kind of basically like a raised bed almost, because I lifted this one up pretty far. You can see these stones right here. It's probably, in parts, it's about a foot, maybe 16 inches deep. So when I planted this one up, I didn't even have to dig down into the native soil. It was basically just planted right into the garden soil that I topped it up with. But underneath it, it does have the cardboard, and all the maintenance I really have to do on it is like any other garden now at this point, just edging it, which I haven't done yet, as you can kind of see. But this one is a very happy garden because it started off with such great soil. Right here in the middle, I did have a flipside vitex that just got too big for the space. So transplanted that down to one of the beds we were just looking at, and I'm going to plant in this Atlas rose right here in the middle. So this is a super happy bed. You can definitely tell the difference between these beds and my other beds that I've done that were just, you know, like this front one here in the front of our house, all these original beds basically that were kind of amended hole by hole. These no-dig beds were amended with just great stuff right on top of cardboard and right on top of the lawn basically that was underneath it. Okay, so this one that we're going to look at right here is one that we also put in last year. It was basically a garden with like a couple trees and what did I have? A couple of the daffodils, I think. And I just basically wanted to build it up because this is one I can see out of our kitchen window, and I really wanted to have just a lovely view. I mean, the trees are pretty behind me, obviously, but I wanted to be able to see a garden out here. So this one it's coming along. The chickens have gotten out and gotten digging around in it a little bit, but it doesn't really seem to have harmed anything. It's just exposed some roots. But that honestly shows how amazing these plants are because they survived having their roots exposed and all that. I have to come out here every once in a while and cover up the roots. But I'll turn you around and show you this one real quick. So you can see along the drip line, that's where the chickens have dug out. I do see actually there's one plant right here that was exposed from right here, but I have a few more nepeta that I think I'm just going to put along this outsides of the garden. You can see they've exposed the roots of this viburnum, which just has been blooming beautifully. I love these. This is the spring bouquet viburnum, and I definitely have been adding some more into the beds, and I would like to continue to get more. So anyway, they've kind of kicked out the bed and kind of actually widened it. It's a little bit wider now than it was when I first made it. But again, this one is the whole process is on the channel from last year, and you can see it's done pretty well, but there's lots of grass that is coming up. I don't know for sure if that's coming up through the cardboard or if it has seeded in on top. I'll be able to tell better once I weed it. So, it definitely helps. The thicker that you can lay down the cardboard, the thicker that you can lay down the mulch and the soil and all that stuff on top of it, the better. The more you're going to be preventing any grass or weeds or anything like that from coming up underneath it. But for sure, I think it's a better and easier process than trying to remove the sod and remove the weeds and all that stuff, and then laying down the garden and all that, because I think I would have probably, I don't know, 100% more weeds than I do right now to deal with in all these beds. So right now I'm actually going to go get the soil to put on top of that cardboard, and I'll show you that once it's done. Oh, but really quick, I should probably show you this perspective of this garden. You can see definitely how happy these plants are. It's, getting towards the end, mid to end of April, and you can just see the Nepeta is like, it's crazy up there. Look how sweet these daffodil are, which honestly is interesting because they pushed up through the cardboard. So that goes to show that things can come up through. I mean, thankfully, I guess, because I think they are so sweet. They're just a tiny little bloom, little double, and I love them. So I'm glad that they made their way through. But that does mean that weeds can make their way through too. So anyways, now I'm going to head out and I'm going to get the soil for the newest no dig bed. All right, so here you can see now that I have the dark hemlock mulch on top of the bark dust and on top of the soil that I put on top of the cardboard. I did plant in a few shrubs into this no dig bed. Here is a lilac, and you can see I still have the tag down here so that I can remember to take a picture of it. It is the Bloomerang dark purple lilac from Proven Winners, and it says this will get 4 to 6 feet tall and wide, which is perfect for out here because I really just want to put shrubs in this bed that can get to be their full size, easy to take care of, not a lot of maintenance. So I have another forsythia, or a forsythia over here. This is the show-off variety. This one will be 5 to 6 feet, perfect for this space. And then, like I said, it's the neon burst. And then I also have an aronia over here that I did not plant in before I put down the soil. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to get into the ground this season because I did lay the cardboard really, really thick. And so until it starts to really break down, I don't think I'm gonna be, I'm not gonna be able to dig into this bed. And the bed is not deep enough with the new soil to where I can just dig down into the new soil that I put in and plant the aronia. So I'm going to have to wait, and I may plant the aronia. I should probably plant the aronia someplace else in the meantime. I just really don't want to mess with the cardboard once I've laid it down, because if I do and I shift it at all, then the grass will find its way up and through and out. So I don't know, we'll see, but I would love to put, I think it's the low-scape mound aronia, and this one only gets 1 to 2 feet tall and 2 feet wide. So it's just a low grower, and look at these sweet blooms. I thought this one was an evergreen, but it's not because when I got it in the garden center pretty early on this spring, it was just pushing its new leaves. So, but I was looking for these because I've heard great things about them in that they have the sweet flower. They do grow nice and low. The deer supposedly don't like them. They get berries. They do naturalize, as you can see here coming out of the can. You can even see, can you see the texture on here? This guy needs to get out of its can so badly, which is why I'm thinking I might need to plant it someplace else in my gardens and then transplant it here once I can dig in here. But it does naturalize, and then evidently it has gorgeous fall color. So might look this one up. I do have 2 of them. They could go, I think they'd be so sweet right here, but I can't plant them in right now. But So this no dig bed is basically done for the season. I think if I had some, if I was to put perennials in it or annuals, I could probably just plant those right in because the root ball would be shallow enough that it could just be into the depth of the soil that I laid on top of the cardboard. But because I don't really want to, you know, famous last words, it's what I'm saying now, but I don't really want to be planting that type of stuff out here in this bed. It is a ways away from the house. You can see the house is back up there. I'm surrounded by the other no dig beds down here. It's kind of far from the house. I don't really want this bed to be a ton of maintenance at all. I don't need a lot of more high maintenance plants in my garden. So anyway, it is what it is for now. Sixth one, like I said, that we've added in or that I've added in to my gardens. And yeah, it's just a really simple process. I'll probably go around and edge it just to clean it up a little bit. And yeah, just let the natural process begin of the cardboard breaking down and all that stuff. So yeah, this simple project, simple-ish project is done. So another no dig bed added to my gardens. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.